very warm welcome. You're watching Gravitas with me, Modi Gambhir. Here's a look at what's lined up for you on the show tonight.
जनप्रतिनिधि दोनों सदनों में मिलाकर के अगर आज सरकार बनती है 7,500 के करीब। इसी सदन में पंडित नेहरू का एट द स्ट्रोक ऑफ मिडनाइट की गूंज हम सबको प्रेरित करती रहेगी। परिश्रम मेरे देशवासियों का लगा था और पैसे भी मेरे देश के लोगों को।
Today was a special day in India, a day that witnessed a speech by the Indian Prime Minister in the lower house of the Parliament that was historic by several measures. It had several layers, a lot of messaging, a series of aspects that are making headlines. From acknowledging the contribution of his predecessors to looking back at the journey of the Parliament, there's a lot to decode. And tonight, we are getting you all those aspects of that speech, decoding it for you and getting you the key takeaways and the messaging behind it. Also on the show for you tonight, we tell you how China's obsession with spying has reached a whole new level, with the country now training students to become spies. Leaked documents reveal the US helped Pakistan get the IMF bailout with a secret arms deal for Ukraine. We tell you all about this bombs for bailout deal. A new Covid19 variant is on the prowl in the UK. We tell you all that you need to know. An F-35 fighter jet has gone missing in the United States, and authorities are now asking for the people to help find it. We get to the complete story. "75 years of a unique democratic history witnessed a transition today as India's vibrant parliament, a beacon of free speech and liberty, moved from a building built by the British to embody their empire to a new state-of-the-art complex that captures the spirit and essence of modern independent India, a structure that is a reflection of the aspirations of new India. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi marked this moment with a speech that rose above partisan politics and honored the achievements of a free people and all their leaders through 7.5 decades. And this was his last address in the old Parliament building, and it was unlike any other that he's given out before. It was a speech that gave life to his vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, a speech that highlighted India's growth story right from independence to Amrit Kal, or the era of prosperity. And over the next few minutes, we are taking you through all that the Prime Minister said and decoding the significance of each remark. To start with, the Prime Minister took members of this august House through the 75-year journey of the Parliament. He spoke about India's many accomplishments and the Parliament's role in turning them into reality. He also stressed that while the old Parliament building may have been constructed during the colonial era, it took on new dimension on 15th August 1947 when India won her freedom. The old Parliament might have been designed by a colonial power, but it was built with the sweat, hard work and commitment of Indian citizens. Listen to this.
ये सही है, इस इमारत के निर्माण करने का निर्णय विदेशी शासकों का था, लेकिन ये बात हम न कभी भूल सकते हैं और हम गर्व से कह सकते हैं कि इस भवन के निर्माण में पसीना मेरे देशवासियों का लगा था, परिश्रम मेरे देशवासियों का लगा था और पैसे भी मेरे देश के लोगों के।
And next, the Prime Minister spoke about the contribution of his predecessors. From India's first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru to India's first woman Prime Minister Indira Gandhi to Dr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Dr. Manmohan Singh, he recognized the efforts of these leaders in shaping the values of the Parliament as well as the country. As far as Nehru was concerned, he said the leader's historic stroke of the midnight hour speech delivered right after India's independence echoes in the Parliament to this day and will continue to inspire generations to come. Next, the Prime Minister praised Indira Gandhi for making tough decisions during her tenure. He lauded her role in helping the liberation movement that led to the formation of Bangladesh. And speaking about Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Prime Minister Modi remembered his famous remarks made in the Parliament, the fact that governments will come and go, but the country should prosper at all times. Listen in.
ये वो सदन है जहां पंडित जी को इसलिए भी याद किएगा, अनेक बातों के लिए याद करेगा, लेकिन हम जरूर याद करेंगे इसी सदन में पंडित नेहरू का एट द स्ट्रोक ऑफ मिडनाइट की गूंज हम सबको प्रेरित करती रहेगी। और इसी सदन में अटल जी ने कहा था, वो शब्द आज भी गूंज रहे हैं इस सदन में, सरकारें आएगी जाएगी, पार्टियां बनेगी बिगड़ेगी, लेकिन ये देश रहना चाहिए। बांग्लादेश की मुक्ति का आंदोलन और उसका समर्थन भी इसी सदन ने इंदिरा गांधी के नेतृत्व में किया था। यही
And Prime Minister Modi also talked about the growing representation and contribution of women MPs in the House proceedings. He said while the number of women MPs had been low earlier, it had consistently risen over the years.
प्रारंभ से अब तक एक मोटा हिसाब लगाता था, करीब 7,500 से अधिक जनप्रतिनिधि दोनों सदनों में मिलाकर के योगदान दे चुके हैं। इतने सालों में 7,500 से करीब 7,000। इस कालखंड में करीब 600 महिला सांसदों ने भी इस सदन की गरिमा को बढ़ाया है, दोनों सदन की।
And next, the Prime Minister spoke about the G20 summit. He credited the entire nation for the summit's success. He said it was a victory of India, not of a person, not of a party, but of 140 crore Indians.
मैं आपका आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। G20 की सफलता 140 करोड़ देशवासियों की है। ये भारत की सफलता है, किसी व्यक्ति की सफलता नहीं है, किसी दल की सफलता नहीं है।
Now, these were just a few takeaways from the Prime Minister's speech. There were many more anecdotes, many more tributes. They were all met with a round of applause from both sides of the political spectrum. All eyes now are on the Parliament's new home. Starting Tuesday, all House proceedings will be shifting to the new building. It will coexist harmoniously with the existing Parliament House, enhancing operational efficiency. The aim of the new building essentially is to meet the evolving needs of India's democracy by providing modern facilities. The coexistence of the old with the new in a civilizational harmony, that is the essence of India. Moving on for now, it's back to school time for Chinese students, but as they got back this month, they found a new addition to their syllabus. No, it wasn't just another subject or workshop. It was a crash course on how to catch spies. That's what China wants to teach its teenagers and young adults. There has been a propaganda blitz around Beijing's top campuses. This is the Tsinghua University. It is run by the state. Videos beamed onto faculty screens instructing the teachers and the students to become a defense line against the foreign forces. This one is the Beijing University of Technology. According to China's spy agency, it threw a national security-themed garden party. Students at Beihang University were asked to play an interactive training game. It's called Who's the Spy? For those who are not aware, it's a game in which players use questions to find a spy among the group. Around the world, it is played in make-believe, but in China, the game is training students to catch actual spies. And there's more. Universities have asked the faculty to take courses on protecting the state's secrets. The movement, in fact, has not spared kindergartens either. A kindergarten in the eastern city of Tianjin organized a special meeting. What for? To teach the staffers how to understand and use China's anti-espionage law. China's Ministry of State Security is usually covert, but recently it opened its first social media account. And guess what? Its very first post was a public call against espionage. Take a look for yourself. It says, counterintelligence and anti-espionage requires the mobilization of the whole society. It also says, I'm quoting further, the participation of the masses should be normalized. Is Xi Jinping in some kind of paranoia? China's ruling Communist Party is enlisting ordinary people. It wants them to guard China against perceived threats. It's also offering handsome rewards for people who report spies. And by handsome, I mean tens of thousands of dollars. But let me just tell you here, there is a fine line between vigilance and paranoia. What does training students, faculty, people in general for catching spies sound like? It's not just teenagers at home. China is also training students who are going abroad. They will be taught how to avoid being lured into spying for foreign intelligence agencies. But why is China turning its citizens into spy hunters? Why is it so obsessed with espionage? And what explains this desperation? Is Xi Jinping afraid of something? In May, the Chinese media reported that Xi Jinping has emphasized to boost national security. He told China's National Security Commission, and I'm quoting, "We must be prepared for worst case and extreme scenarios." He also called on the officials to enhance real-time monitoring and get prepared for actual combat. Again, what is Xi Jinping so concerned about? China already spends more on internal security than external security. Its public safety spending reached $210 billion in 2020. What is this money used on? For maintaining public order and controlling speech at home, among other things. And the amount has more than doubled in 10 years, by the way. It was as much as 7% higher than the national defense spending in 2020. And now it may be even higher than that. You see, as Xi Jinping's power has grown, so has the budget for domestic security. And so have the troubles. Beijing may be confronting some of its biggest challenges since Xi's ascension to power over a decade ago. Economic gloom is growing in China. Ties with the West are fraying. There has been an unexplained personnel change at the highest tiers of power. And amid all of this, is Xi Jinping sensing threats to his control? Is he also afraid of factions within the CCP? Is he afraid that the economy's downslide will lead to mass uprisings? Or is it a threat of a popular insurrection that's scaring him? Crash courses in catching spies inspired widespread caution in China. Will they bring any action on the ground? Last month, Chinese authorities announced the capture of at least 4 spies, and earlier this year, they sentenced an American citizen to life in prison for espionage. A high-ranking Chinese newspaper editor was also arrested for spying. You see, the obsession is only intensifying. What will happen next in Xi Jinping's China? And since we are on the latest coming in from China, let's also take you through our newly launched segment, Missing in China. This is a counter that keeps track of the high-profile disappearances in China. Li Shangfu, China's defense minister, has been missing for 20 days. Qin Gang, China's former foreign minister, has been missing for 85 days. Wei Fenghe, China's former defense minister, has not been seen in public for at least 126 days. Liu Chao, the former chief of the PLA rocket force, has not been seen in public for 66 days. Liu Guangbin, former deputy chief of the PLA rocket force, also has been missing for 66 days. We asked the Chinese authorities to address these missing cases. The families of these officials, after all, deserve an answer, as does the world. And we will remind China once again tomorrow. Pakistan has been witnessing several atrocities. Its citizens have been protesting, its governments have been changing, but little do the people know what's actually going on behind the scenes. Did you know that Pakistan managed to get a bailout from the IMF amid this crisis? I'm sure some of you do. But do you know how Pakistan actually secured this bailout? Well, a report from The Intercept says that earlier this year, Pakistan made secret arms sales to the US to facilitate the bailout package. The arms were reportedly supplied to the Ukrainian military in return for the bailout. And this marks Pakistan's involvement in supporting Ukraine over Russia. And it also raises a series of questions, like where did the bailout money go? Did the public receive any relief as a result of that fund? How did the arms sale actually help Pakistan get the bailout fund? Let's get to the details. According to the report, in May, Pakistan and US officials met in Washington, D.C. They discussed how the weapons sales to Ukraine could help Pakistan's financial position. You see, the arms sale was worth $900 million, and that would help cover the $2 billion monetary gap required by the IMF. Now, this may not come as a surprise, as Pakistan has been a useful supporter of the US and its allies. The US might have simply repaid Pakistan with the IMF loan. The report says that the emergency loan has allowed Pakistan to reduce an economic catastrophe. And it's also interesting to note that last year, the US had encouraged a no-confidence vote against former Prime Minister Imran Khan, as per reports. The reports say that the State Department was unhappy with Pakistan and called Pakistan's stance over the Ukraine war aggressively neutral under Khan's government. And that said, the US denies any involvement in Pakistan's democracy. US officials, in fact, say, and I'm quoting, "We do not let propaganda, misinformation and disinformation get in the way of any bilateral relationship, including our valued relationship with Pakistan." Now, whether it be due to Imran Khan's ouster or not, the US made sure that Pakistan gets its IMF loan deal. Let's remind you, to successfully get the loan, Pakistan had to meet certain financing and refinancing targets to its debt and foreign investment. What was the IMF target? The target was set at $6 billion. Pakistan's government claimed that it had nearly secured $4 billion from the Gulf countries. It seems the secret $900 million arms deal helped Pakistan achieve its goal. And what came as a blessing was the IMF surprise announcement. Only a day before the deal was about to expire, the IMF said that instead of extending the previous series of loans and the next $1.1 billion investment, the bank will enter a new agreement called a standby arrangement. What is a standby arrangement, you ask? In simple terms, it's an arrangement that has fewer strings attached. it has more favorable terms and is valued at $3 billion. What was the catch here? The agreement essentially says that first, the currency should be allowed to circulate freely. Second, all energy subsidies should be withdrawn. What this basically meant was that the citizens would need to pay skyrocketing energy prices. Pakistan did not think twice and approved the conditions. The government also increased the cost of energy by nearly 50%. So while members of the IMF and the US State Department rejected the allegations, reports showing that some American lawmakers had said something to the contrary. Take the case of Maryland Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen. He said, and I'm quoting, "The United States has been very instrumental in making sure that the IMF came forward with its emergency economic relief." And by the way, this was not the first time that Pakistan provided arms to Ukraine. Reports say that the Ukrainian army has received several consignments of military equipment from Pakistan. Some of these consignments had Pakistani rockets. Which rockets? The most lethal ones. I'm talking about the Yarmouk Ejifrag rockets. These are unguided surface-to-surface rockets developed by the Pakistan Ordnance Factories. They can go to a maximum distance of 20 kilometers with a maximum flight time of 78 seconds and a muzzle velocity of 400 meters per second. The reality is that Pakistan is cash-strapped. So by secretly arming Ukraine with the help of the US, is Pakistan trying to raise its forex reserves? And will supplying weapons to the US be Pakistan's way out of the rut? One thing is clear, America's secret relations with Pakistan have now been exposed. And how will the US react to all of this? Let's now talk about what's happening in Kerala in India. The state government is allowing people to hire cops and even the right to use a police station. This is not a joke. We are not making this up. The government, in fact, has released a rate card on how much it will cost. This scheme is being widely criticized and many officials have raised an alarm about the security issues this could cause. Be it an entertainment event or a film shooting, if you can afford it, you can have the luxury of hiring the police force for a few $100s per day. This scheme, which seems to be a way to shore up strained finances, is not new, by the way. Kerala has tried it out earlier amid heavy criticism. But what is new this time are the new hiring rates. Let's just show you the new rate card. Hiring a circle inspector rank officer will cost close to $36 per day, and getting a civil police officer will cost nearly $7. Police dogs coming at a price of nearly $86 a day. Wireless security equipment costing $145 per day. And now the entire police station also being charged at $144 a day. Why does a police dog cost more than a police officer? And why do wireless equipment and a police station have the same cost? There are a lot of questions that are being asked. And while the government says that the potential customers will be private parties and entertainment organizers, critics have put forward a valid point. Some officials say that wealthy people organizing events are much more resource-rich and don't need to hire cops and equipment. And critics say that renting out equipment and cops with guns can raise major security concerns. You see, the film industry depends on the police for permission while filming in public spaces. But does it need additional police for hire? Industry officials say, and I'm quoting, all other infrastructure related to the police is already available in the industry itself. While the government order allows the civilians to hire cops, the practice is in contradiction to Section 62(2) of the Kerala Police Act. The section states that a private person has no right to use the police, whether free of cost or paid for. The General Secretary of the Police Officers Association saying that, and has been a major critic, saying that, I quote, Human or other resources of the police should not be made available for any pomp and show. He says that the government order maintains an SOP which will have to be strictly followed. Kerala's mighty have hired the police for private events earlier, but will there be takers for the controversial scheme this time? A new Covid-19 variant is on the prowl. It's called Pirola and is contributing to a spike in cases across Scotland and other parts. As of this week, there have been at least 37 cases recorded in England, which is an increase of over 3 infections from the previous week. Our next report telling you all that you need to know about this new variant.
A new COVID-19 variant, BA.2.86, is spreading fast in the United Kingdom. As the winter season draws nearer, it has sparked concern among health experts. Pirola, as it is called, is reported to have at least 34 mutations, which means it may have the ability to evade the protection provided by vaccination. According to the COVID-19 Variant Tracker, the Global Initiative on Sharing All Influenza Data, GIS-8, Pirola has been detected in at least 16 countries across the world. This includes the UK, South Africa, Denmark, Sweden, the United States, France, Spain, Thailand and Israel, among others. According to the Zoe Health study, the spike in Pirola cases in the United Kingdom comes as the country is witnessing over 100,000 new cases of COVID-19 as of September 10th. There's also concern over the Eris COVID variant, with cases identified in Scotland. Both variants are being monitored by the World Health Organization. In Scotland, the 7-day average number of new COVID cases recorded per day was 217 in the week ending September 10th. While it is confirmed at least 5 cases of the new Pirola variant, there are concerns it will spread throughout the autumn and winter months. According to Public Health, Scotland has also seen a sharp increase in the traces of virus levels detected in water in recent weeks. Let's take a closer look at the UK's Pirola variant. The key symptoms to look out for are sore throat, cough, headache and runny or blocked nose. Even though the COVID-19 variant is not known to cause any additional symptoms or cause more severe illness, there's much to learn about the new strain, with scientists working to better understand the Pirola variant. But the big question still remains, is the UK ready to deal with the new COVID-19 variant? In response to the emergence of the BA.2.86 variant, the Department of Health and Social Care has brought forward the rollout of the autumn vaccine booster in England to 11th September as a precautionary measure.
There has been a new addition to UNESCO's World Heritage List. And if you are an Indian, you will be very proud. Rabindranath Tagore's Shantiniketan has earned a place on UNESCO's list, and with that it has become the 41st World Heritage Site in India and the 3rd one in West Bengal alone. And on this happy occasion, let's just take a closer look at the prestigious institution's history. This is Shantiniketan, a university town in West Bengal's Birbhum district. It literally means the abode of peace. It was established back in 1901 by Nobel laureate and India's beloved poet and philosopher Rabindranath Tagore. The property is spread over 36 hectares of land. It was founded as a center for the arts and Indian traditions, but it was much more than that. You see, it was a vision for humanity that transcended religious and cultural boundaries. In 2 decades, Shantiniketan evolved into the world-renowned Vishwabharati University. It translates to Unity of Humanity. The university expanded to include a wide range of disciplines, including arts, sciences, humanities, and gradually several other cultural institutions were established at Shantiniketan. There was Kala Bhavan, a school of fine arts, the Sangeet Bhavan, a music school, and it wasn't all about education. You see, Shantiniketan was committed to global cooperation. It cared for people and the environment. It embraced a modern Asian style while drawing from ancient Indian traditions. The institution's approach to art education has been compared to many influential movements of the past. This includes German Expressionism and Menge. But there is something which separates Shantiniketan from the rest. While other movements valued craftsmanship and creativity, Shantiniketan's approach was more human-centered. It was more open to diverse influences. It was inclusive of all. And soon, Shantiniketan became a hub of cultural and intellectual activity. It attracted scholars and artists from around the world. It became known for its natural beauty, with its lush green forests and its peaceful atmosphere. Shantiniketan was also a center of resistance during India's struggle for independence, by the way. Many of its students and faculty fought for freedom from the British. All this was Rabindranath Tagore's legacy. Over his love for teaching, people referred to Tagore as Gurudev, a mentor. In 1913, he won the Nobel Prize in Literature. Tagore was the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. His medal and citation were kept in a safety vault at Vishwabharati Museum. But on an unfortunate day in the year 2004, Tagore's Nobel Prize was stolen. And 8 months after the theft, Sweden presented a replica of Rabindranath Tagore's Nobel Prize medal to be kept at Shantiniketan. But 19 years on, the original Nobel still has not been found. Shantiniketan was Tagore's vision, but it was nurtured by thousands of Indians. Its development over the years has been generously supported by the people of Bengal. And today, Shantiniketan is a popular tourist destination, and it continues to be a center of learning and cultural exchange and an integral part of India's heritage. And going back to Pakistan, on Sunday, the country's newly appointed Chief Justice, Qazi Faiz Isa, took the oath of office. 24 hours on, the ceremony is still making headlines. Why is that? Because of the unusual nature of that ceremony. Just have a look at this headline and image. The new Chief Justice is being praised for inviting his wife to stand by him during the oath-taking ceremony. And this symbolic gesture has left many people intrigued, simply because it is unprecedented. To the best of our knowledge, it hasn't really happened before. There have been several Chief Justices in Pakistan, but none of them have taken the oath with their spouse standing next to them. And this begs the question, what made Qazi Faiz Isa do this? And to understand that, we'll have to delve a bit into history. 2019 to be precise. This is when the President of Pakistan, Dr. Arif Alvi, had filed a presidential reference against Qazi Faiz Isa. A presidential reference is basically a legal proceeding of sorts under which disputes involving the state and the union are deliberated upon in court. So what was the reference against Qazi Faiz Isa about? His assets and properties. It was alleged in the reference that the properties belonged to Justice Isa's wife were actually his own. This was alleged without issuing any notice to the wife or hearing her point of view. The wife successfully challenged the order, and she established that she had an independent means of livelihood and was a separate taxpayer since she had started working in 1981. In April 2020, much to the embarrassment of Pakistan's president, the apex court quashed the presidential reference, and then in January 2022, it issued a detailed verdict stating that the Federal Board of Revenue had obtained the tax records of the judge and his family in an unlawful manner. So in a way, you could say that the establishment tried going after the Chief Justice of Pakistan and his family, but failed miserably. And the Chief Justice inviting his wife to stand next to him during the oath is a gesture rooted deep in symbolism. From the political point of view, it sends out a message as well to the Pakistani establishment, a message that bullying him and his wife has gotten them nowhere. And secondly, it sends out a message of inclusivity and equality, a message which underlines the importance of recognizing women as equal partners. I mean, how many times do you see a man, especially a Pakistani leader, giving credit to their spouse? And while we're at it, let's also discuss the credentials of this man. Who exactly is he, and what is going to change now that he is Pakistan's Chief Justice? And what sort of challenges is he going to face? To start with, Justice Issa has practiced law for over 27 years in Pakistan. He completed his bar professional examination from the Inns of Court School of Law, London. And from time to time, he has been called upon by high courts and the Supreme Court as amicus curiae, under which he has rendered assistance in certain complicated cases. And besides this, he has also conducted international arbitration. Next question, what sort of challenges could he face as Pakistan's Chief Justice? The biggest test he might face will be regarding the general elections, the fact that they are supposed to be held within 90 days of the dissolution of the Pakistan Assembly, but have been postponed by Pakistan's Election Commission. And besides this, he will also have to maintain a working relationship with the executive and the country's politicians who have been trying their best to use the judiciary for political motives. And lastly, he will have to lead the Supreme Court on the pending hearing on the trial of civilians by military courts. And it will be interesting to see his stance on the issue. Suffice to say, the new Chief Justice of Pakistan will have his hands full, and here's hoping he is able to perform his duties without pressure or interference. India, the land of dreams and innovation, is about to embark on an interstellar journey like never before. A US-based space expedition company is all set to enter Indian markets next month, and you can be a space explorer as well. All you need is a sense of adventure and a healthy bank balance. Our next report telling you more.
2, 1.
Imagine a world where the cosmos is your playground, where the stars are your neighbors, and where adventure knows no bounds. Guess what? Your dreams are about to become reality. Space VIP, a space expedition company based in New York, is on a mission to nurture curiosity about the cosmos and provide a deeper understanding of space to all. Now, you might be thinking space travel is for astronauts, right? Well, think again. Even you can embark on an interstellar journey, a journey that will have all features that you can think of, including luxurious accommodations, along with unparalleled views of the cosmos. Soon, you may also visit the International Space Station. All you need is a deep interest in space and a high net worth. So, what's on the menu? The company will offer 11 distinct space travel programs, and the best part? You can complete them in a single day with minimal training.
Full power. And liftoff.
Get ready, folks. The countdown to your epic space adventure has begun. Are you ready to blast off for a space visit? Buckle up, because the universe is calling and it's time to answer. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Our next story is about a massive hunt that is underway in the United States. A hunt for what, you ask? Wait till you hear what's gone missing. It's expensive, and that's an understatement. It's worth $80 million as per reports. And before you start scratching your head, let me tell you what this is all about. An $80 million fighter jet has gone missing. You heard that right. And authorities are asking the people to help find the jet. It's a stealth-capable fighter jet, and as per reports, the F-35B Lightning II jet disappeared during flight. How did that even happen? Well, here's what we know so far. It all started with what the US authorities say was a mishap. after which the pilot flying the jet ejected. That's right, he parachuted safely. Next question, where did this happen? In South Carolina. And what happened to the pilot afterwards? He was admitted to the hospital where his condition was stable. Who is the pilot? His name has not been put out. The authorities have asked the locals to help find the jet. And this has led to a series of questions, like this one. This is the post that was put out on social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, asking the public to contact the base if anyone had information about the aircraft's whereabouts. It read, if you have any information that may help our recovery teams locate the F-35, please call the Base Defense Operations Center. But just how do you lose a jet is the question. And that's exactly what this local congresswoman is asking. This is what she put out on the platform X. I'm quoting from her statement. How in the hell do you lose an F-35? How is there not a tracking device? And we are asking the people to what? Find a jet and turn it in? As per reports, a South Carolina Law Enforcement Division helicopter joined the search mission after some bad weather cleared in the area. But what really happened and what led to the pilot ejecting? That is being investigated by the authorities. The jet's transponder usually helps locate the aircraft, but it was not working, and the reason for that is yet to be determined. And this has resulted in the appeal to the people for help. The jets are among the world's most expensive. They are known for their sharp aerodynamic body and features that shield them from detection. And being stealth capable also means the jet has different coatings, different designs that make it more difficult than a normal aircraft to detect. Let's now tell you what else made news around the world. Time for Gravitas Global Headlines.
Derna's mayor says the final flash flood's death toll may reach as high as 20,000. Meanwhile, Libyan domestic and international rescue forces continue to search for the bodies of victims and those missing. Kremlin calls for reforms at the UN Security Council to include states that have recently gained influence. Reports say US President expected to call for restructuring of the UNSC to offset Russian and Chinese power on the body. The Indian space research organization's Aditya L1 has commenced collecting scientific data. The sensors of the STEPS instrument have begun measuring suprathermal and energetic ions and electrons. Thousands of protesters flocked the streets of Manhattan demanding world leaders to pivot away from using fossil fuels. The public ire comes at the heels of the UN General Assembly session scheduled to kick off tomorrow. The protesters urged US President Joe Biden to stop the approval of new oil and gas projects. Taiwan's defense ministry says it has detected 103 Chinese warplanes around the island in a 24-hour period. The minister has said Beijing's continued military harassment can easily lead to a sharp spike in tension and worsen regional security, while calling on China to immediately stop such destructive unilateral actions. Hundreds of Peruvians took to the streets of Lima to protest against President Dina Boluarte's government and the National Congress. The protest involved dozens of social organizations, trade unions, and political parties. 13th Hoysala Empire temples in the southern Indian state of Karnataka listed as the 42nd UNESCO World Heritage Site in India. The development comes a day after Shantiniketan University in West Bengal was listed as a UNESCO Heritage Site. Storm Lee continues to bring high winds, rough surf and torrential rains, toppling trees, swamping coastlines and cutting power to tens of thousands. The storm made landfall at near hurricane strength. It gradually weakened as it moved into New Brunswick and the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Jennifer Hermoso has been left out of Spain's squad for their UEFA Nations League matches against Sweden and Switzerland. New head coach Montse Tomé has, however, named 15 other members of Spain's World Cup winning squad. 2003 champions England have all but booked their place in the quarter-finals of the Rugby World Cup. The Red Roses looked disjointed and were even booed at half-time by the fans, but managed to see off Japan 34-12 to make it 2 wins from 2.
Las Vegas has a mini Eiffel Tower, a fake Statue of Liberty, even an imitation of the Egyptian pyramid. Saying the skyline is memorable will be an understatement. But the latest addition to its star attractions is eye-catching even by the city's extravagant standards. Las Vegas has installed a huge sphere. It is being billed as the world's largest video screen. And we are leaving you with these visuals. Thanks for watching.